Hi everyone, welcome back to this February Comeback Yoga Chair Series. I'm so glad that you have joined today. If you're coming off of last week's class, thank you so much for coming again. And if this is your first time, thank you so much for being here. So in today's class, we are going to build off of the breath and the movement work that we introduced and practiced last week. And today, though, I'll introduce the concept of the flow. So the flow is something you may have heard of if you've practiced yoga before, but it comes up a lot in different styles of yoga. And it's something that yoga practitioners and teachers often use just to heighten their practice. It really helps all of us to achieve a deeper connection between the breath and the body. When we really intentionally connect our breath and our movement, we can establish a sense of rhythm or flow, some may say, that can often ease the mind and quiet the nervous system. It can really get us to focus and hone in on the here and the now to really increase that practice of presence that we spoke about last week. And it also just, at the end of the day, just feels good. Getting into that flow state, into that rhythm where you're really focused on the movement, the breath, it can feel really good. So we're going to start to tune into that today. We're going to start to introduce a small, brief sequence that we can build on and add on in the weeks to come. So before we dive into our class, as a reminder, this class is completely and 100% for you, for what your body and your mind needs today. So please just use my words as a guide, but adjust whatever you need to feel comfortable and safe throughout the duration of the class. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So establishing our comfortable seated position by scooting the hips all the way to the edge of your chair, starting to encourage the spine straight, rooting the feet and all 10 toes into the ground. Knees are about hip distance apart, tracking over the toes and facing forward. We're really feeling those sits bones and the tailbone root firmly into the chair, and in opposition, our spine gets a little bit straighter and taller, tucking the chin ever so slightly to protect the back of the neck here, and reaching the top of the head high all the way through the ceiling towards the sky. So this is both a real true movement where you get taller, but also sort of an energetic sensation where there's energy flowing through us now rather than just sitting and relaxing. But there's true energy. And here we're finding our mountain pose. This is something that we introduced and spoke through last week. And as a reminder, this mountain pose, this stable, strong, empowered, solid pose is something that we always return to between different sequences of movement. You can always choose to return to it if you're feeling overwhelmed or you just need a moment to breathe. This is where we can really feel the stability of our core, which remember is the front of the body and the back of the body, where when that is strong and solid, our limbs have the freedom to move from that strong, solid base and core. So coming to that mountain pose, spreading one hand across your chest and one hand across your belly. Feel free to find a soft gaze and a low point in front of you, or just close your eyes entirely. I'll talk you through. We're going to start to tune in and just notice our breath without changing anything and without placing any judgment. I just want you to notice how you've come into the class today, how your breathing is, where you might be holding or tensing. And once you make an observation, start to deepen the breath. Breathing a little bit deeper and a little bit longer through the nose and through the mouth. While elongating both the inhales and exhales, begin to observe how your body reacts to the deepening of the breath. Maybe you take notice of the movement of your chest and your belly, filling your palms and your fingers as you inhale and releasing from your palms and your fingers as you exhale. Or maybe you choose to tune into the textures of your clothing underneath of your hands. Maybe they're rough or smooth or a mixture of two. Maybe you notice the temperature of the room, of the air around you. Or maybe you go internally and notice as you breathe, is there a temperature change that comes up for you? Do you feel a coolness sensation? You don't need to observe any of the things I just said, but I do invite you and encourage you to make one observation at least. Tuning into some sort of sensation that comes up for you as you deepen this breath. As you establish this rhythm of breathing, remembering to hold on to it and rely on it as a tool to relax, to calm, and to remain present throughout the class. Release your hands by your sides and allow one ear to fall to one shoulder, sliding the head gently forward and back. Your shoulders are dropped away from your ears and you're stretching out the side of the neck here. Being gentle with your body as you're introducing this stretch for the first time today, maybe. Tucking the chin and slowly rolling the head to the other side. And again, sliding the head forward and back ever so slightly. Maybe you're feeling the release of some pops and crackles in the neck. That's great. But just tune in, make sure it's nothing too intense. And rolling the chin to the first side and coming back up to your mountain pose. Let's get into some shoulder and chest movement here. So inhale, bring the shoulders up to the ears. Exhale, roll the shoulders down and back behind you. Inhale, shoulders up. Exhale, shoulders down and back behind you. Inhale, shoulders up. Exhale, down and back behind you. And now let's reverse the circular movement of the shoulders. So inhale, shoulders up this time. Exhale, down and forward, so concave in the chest. Inhale, shoulders up to the ears. Exhale, down and forward in front of you. One more time. Inhale, shoulders up. Exhale, down and forward. Returning to the mountain pose. Let's do this one more time, opening up the chest. Inhale, sweeping the arms forward and up. Exhale, backstroke behind you, really opening up that upper body here. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. Exhale, backstroke behind you. Last time, inhale, sweeping the arms up. Exhale, back behind you. And let's reverse that. Inhale, this time sweeping the arms back behind you. Exhale, down and forward. And my cat Boo has come to visit. Don't mind her. Inhale, sweeping the arms back behind you. Exhale, down and forward. Sometimes she just wants to join our yoga class. Last time, inhale, back behind you. Exhale, down and forward. Awesome job, everybody. I hope your body's feeling a little warm, your upper body's feeling a little ready to move on to the rest of the class. So now we've done some breath work. We've loosened up our neck a little bit. We've worked on our shoulders, our chest, our upper back. We've started to establish that strong, solid core and base in our mountain pose. So let's continue moving down through the body. So we're going to work on the rest of the spine here, doing what we introduced last week, which is our cat and our cow movement. So this is where the spine arches and curves and arches and curves, and we do the movement while we breathe. So this is where you really want to tune back into that rhythm of breath we established at the beginning of the class. And this is where we start to step into that flow state where our breath and our movement are interconnected. So placing your hands on your thighs, you're going to inhale through the nose, arching the spine, opening up the chest, look up towards the ceiling. Exhale, curve the spine, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone. Inhale deeply as you arch the spine, open up the chest, look up towards the ceiling. Exhale, curve the spine, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone. One more time. Inhale, arching. Looking up towards the ceiling, open up the chest. Exhale, curve the spine, tucking the chin, tucking the tailbone. Inhale, come back to that long straight spine in our mountain pose. There we have our cat-cow. So let's move on a little bit and increase the complexity a little bit of our sequence. So just listen carefully. We'll move through this several times. So if you don't get it the first round, listen a little bit more, watch a little bit more. So you'll have lots of opportunities to add on, and certainly you can rewind and revisit from earlier in the class. So here we're introducing a really classic flow sequence. It can be sometimes called a vinyasa flow in our yoga classes. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're in our mountain pose. We drop our arms by our side. Inhale, sweeping the arms down, side and up, energy through the fingertips as we look up towards the ceiling. Exhale, forward fold as we bend our upper body over our legs. So here you have a couple of options. Placing your hands on your thighs if your lower back needs a little support, reaching down to your shins for some support, or if you'd like, and if it feels good and accessible to you, you can actually just place your hands on the floor. And here in our forward fold, we drop our chin, relax our head over, and curve the spine. Sits bones are still rooted firmly into the chair, so we're not floating off the chair at all, but we're relaxing into this forward seated fold. Here then we arch just the upper spine as we inhale, looking forward, so just the upper spine, chest opens up. As we exhale, we return to that forward fold. As we inhale, we roll up through the spine, starting by curving the low back, and really envision one vertebrae at a time, stacking like building blocks. As we roll all the way up, the neck and the head is the last thing to come up. And there's our vinyasa flow sequence. So we're going to repeat that a couple of times. Each movement is connected to one breath. So remember that. Our breath and our movement is connected, and we're really trying to access that natural flow state where there's a rhythm and we're in tune and connected between the breath and the body. So we'll do this 2 times. Inhale, sweeping the arms down, side and up, looking between the hands. Exhale, diving forward into our forward fold, placing the hands somewhere where it feels supported. Inhale, arch just the upper spine, looking forward. Exhale, forward fold, relaxing over. Inhale, tuck the low back, rolling up through the spine and stacking one vertebrae, one on top of the other, all the way up the spine to your mountain pose. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arching just the upper spine, looking forward. Exhale, forward fold, relaxing over. Inhale, tuck the low spine, roll up, stacking one vertebrae at a time. Last thing to come up is your neck and your head, returning to our mountain pose. Awesome job, everybody. So there is your flow. So in longer classes, we might repeat that a couple of more times, giving yourself the opportunity to really get used to the movements. You don't even have to think about it anymore. You can just do it without thinking. You can really focus on interconnectedness between the breath and the body. And in future classes, we even add on a little bit more movement. We move on to our legs and our hips and all of that. So something to look forward to in future classes. So let's return back to our breath to close out the class. So feel free to scoot the hips all the way to the back of your chair, keeping the abdominals engaged, the core awake and alive, but you can lean back and relax a little bit. Try to avoid slumping over. We're still alert and alive and awake and present in our body here. And then placing one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly once again. Feel free to close your eyes or find a soft gaze on the low point in front of you. And return to that deep rhythmic breath that we established at the beginning of the class, where we really tuned in to the depth of both the inhale and the exhale, using the depth and the slowness of the breath to slow the heart rate, to calm the nervous system, and to really practice that sense of presence that we're always searching for in our yoga classes and hopefully beyond, in moments when you need it in your normal life. Returning back to that one sensation that you focused on at the beginning of the class, whether it was texture, temperature, movement. Use that focus to allow your mind to really hone in on the here and the now, rather than on extraneous thoughts that naturally come up for us. Return back to that sensation. And now bringing both hands on your chest, we're going to do 3 collective deep breaths to close out the class together. So releasing all the air from your lungs. Inhale deeply through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. All right, everybody. I hope that was a nice class today. I hope it introduced something new or revisited something you've already known about in your previous yoga experiences. But I hope that you will join me for the rest of my upcoming February series, going live every Thursday on YouTube in the afternoons. And then, of course, you're always welcome to join my regular class on Tuesdays from 3:15 till 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. This is where we have a little bit of a longer class to revisit some of the things that we introduced in this class today, in our class last week, but also build and expand and continue to practice and deepen that relationship between our mind and our body, and really give you the tools to help in not only our yoga classes, but in your everyday life. So I hope that I will see you there. Thank you.